Hello everyone, I'm Seanie and welcome yourselves to a brand new video. Today's video, as you can read by the title, is obviously a very serious topic. And I wanted to do this video years, but I never felt like I was into position to make one, but now I feel like I am, because I'm sure a lot of you knew what happened and all that. But I'm basically making this video to hopefully at least save one person from what I went through and what a lot of people go through, and just hopefully give the help that I didn't get when I was younger, just from advice and stuff from me in this video, and just sharing my experience of what I went through, and just to tell you that you're not alone and it's okay not to be okay. So basically I've been going through depression with the last 5 to 6 years, and I had very little, if not any, good days in that space of time, and if I did have a good day, it would be overwhelmed by the negative thoughts in my head saying that it wasn't a good day, or just stating the negative things that happened. It got so bad that I eventually attempted to take my own life. The first time I tried to kill myself, I was 16 years old, and I took half a box of pills at 2 a.m. in the morning in my room when everyone was at home. And I cried and cried until my eyes shut, only to be woken up the next morning being told I was late for school. And you might ask, was it a cry for help? But it really wasn't. I told no one. I just got on as if nothing happened, went into school, put the mask on, and said to myself, I'll hang in for another while. And that's what it was. It wasn't a cry for help at all. For years I believed I was by myself and that there was no help to be got, because the first two people I shared my struggles with in the early on days, they didn't help, they didn't listen, and they actually made me feel worse about it. So that scared me from sharing it with anyone else, because I fully believed that nobody cared about what I was going through. But the reality is everyone cares, and that there is people out there who will listen to you. You just need to find them. I was sick of constantly having to hide my depression and make excuses for it, because I was afraid of what people would think of me. When it came to social events and stuff like that, I would always withdraw and not want to go and just make up excuses for it, when really I was just battling with myself on the inside. And it was the same with GAA. The amount of times before trainings and matches where I'd be curled up in my bed and just not ready to go out and play because I was so bad in here, and I just felt like texting the manager and saying, look, I can't do this, I'm not well. But I just got on with it and went out and played the matches and trainings, even though it took every bit of energy out of me to do it. And it was all fine when I actually enjoyed sport and when it was my escape from all this, but after I got my surgery and everything, it was 10 times harder, because it was this constant pain, physically, mentally, and constant disappointment. And that's when the real challenge came in for me, to actually force myself to go to those trainings and matches. When I was in third year, I had a lot of panic attacks, and you might think it was because of exam stress or something like that, but no, I didn't give an absolute shit about the junior cert, never opened a book for it or anything. It didn't stress me. I just got a lot of panic attacks, and I didn't know what was wrong with me, because I kept having these. I was like, this can't be right. I would just be in bed right before I go to sleep and not be able to breathe and be terrified. So I said I needed to do something about it, and I did. I decided to cycle at 10 a.m. every night in the middle of winter to wreck myself before I went to sleep. And I would cycle for 2, 3, 4 hours even, just so I would be absolutely wrecked going to sleep, so I wouldn't even have the energy to think or have a panic attack. And my parents and friends thought I was mad, cycling in pitch dark in the middle of winter, no lights or nothing, just going out cycling, because they didn't know that it was my way of dealing with my panic attacks. And eventually they did go away on a daily basis, but I still get them every now and again. But it was just my way of dealing with it, and it really helped. For as long as I can remember, I lived with a thing a lot of people would call survival mode. Hating waking up in the morning because I knew I had to put the mask on and pretend that everything was okay when I knew it wasn't. And then hating going to sleep because you knew you had to go through the same thing then the morning after. And it was just day in, day out of just existing, surviving through the day. You know, a lot of people think breakdowns are just you're boiled up with emotions of stress and you just leave it all out in 5 to 10 minutes of crying, whatever, something like that. But that's not a breakdown. A breakdown is literally when you cannot function, when you're literally just a zombie, just walking around. And I've had a lot of them, and one of my worst times, I didn't eat for 3 full days, and I literally had a small glass of water every day just to keep myself alive. And I'd just come home from school, ruminate, curl up in the ball in my bed and just be filled with guilt, anger and suicidal thoughts, just feeling that I was a burden to my friends and to my family, that I just didn't deserve to be on this earth. And you might think again, was that a way of seeking attention or a cry for help? But again, I told no one. Nobody knew I wasn't eating. My mum and dad were always working, so they didn't know if I was eating or not. I just couldn't function, and that's the end of the story. Like, it wasn't a cry for help, because you only cry for help if you feel there's help to be cried for. That's something that Wentworth Miller said, and it's a really good quote, but it's true. When I tried to end my life in the beginning of this year, it really was the lowest point of my life, because it was different from my other attempts. Nothing was stopping me. I had no hope, and I was ready to just leave. And only for 2 exceptionally good friends, Cormac and Liam, who saved me that night, I would not be here making this video today. The morning after, I woke up and I thought to myself, while I was lying in the sitting room on suicide watch with Cormac, I said, I have 2 choices now. I can either end my life, write the letter, and that'd be it. I'd take the easy way out. Or I could make the bravest decision in my life and get help. So I chose option B, and it was a tough one too, because I still really felt like ending my life. But I went into my mum, into the room, straight after, and my throat was all choked up, because I literally it took so much to spit the words out and just say, Ma'am, I think I need help. And in that moment I could see that it broke her heart in half, because one half was delighted that I finally just accepted that I needed help, because she was trying to get it for years from me, but I was always too stubborn to get it. But the other half of the heart was just heartbreak, knowing that her son was going through it, so it killed me on the inside. But I knew it wasn't half of the pain she would go through if I wasn't here. So I went to the local GP and told him everything, and he sent me to a place I would call hell. The help that I would have hoped to have gotten was a place where I was surrounded in an environment of people who were going through the same thing, but this place was a department of psychiatry, and it made me a lot worse. I was sent into a locked ward down in Ardkeen, Waterford, and I was in a room with 3 other people who literally didn't know what planet they were on. They were talking about killing people. The fella in the bed next to me was having seizures and his bed was moving in towards mine. This was going on all night. And I knew that either I was going to kill myself or someone in here was going to kill myself. So I was literally, as bad as I was the night before, I was 10 times worse this night. And the only thing, literally the only thing that helped me keep sane was a piece of paper that I wrote down 5 numbers, because you weren't allowed a phone or laces or anything like that. It was literally really strict. I kept a piece of paper that I wrote down 5 numbers, obviously my mum and dad and a few friends, and I repeated one of my friends' number out all night, just memorising it off by heart, and that is the only thing that kept me sane through that night, because I was up all night hearing people walking through the halls, you know, a crazy woman shouting all night, just saying, "Oh, you'll never forget me," and them voices are still in my head to this day, but I'm glad I'm just out of there. But I couldn't talk to anyone. I didn't leave my bed until the morning after, when another young lad was transferred down to my room, and he was the only person I ever talked to in there, because he was going through the same thing as me, and we couldn't understand how you would classify people like us with the people who were in that war. Like, there was a person upstairs who got all his teeth removed for biting people, and I don't get how you can honestly classify someone who's normal like me and him, who have depression, with someone who bites people. Like, that's what I still don't understand it. So after talking to him, I built up the courage to go out of my room and out into the hall and call my mum. And I got the phone and I called her, and I cried while saying it, and I said, "Ma'am, get me out of here." And she said she'd be down as soon as she could, and she came and asked if she'd take me out of the ward into the canteen while they were waiting to arrange me to be transferred to another hospital. And I went out of the ward, and I went to the canteen, and I literally kept my head down. I couldn't look up at all, and I just bawled crying the whole time, and it was as low as I've ever been. And I was just hearing the voices that I heard all night, and I didn't know what to do. So I called. My mum offered me her phone to call someone, and just said, just try to make me feel better. So I didn't know what to do, and I called Connor, and again I tried to put the mask on and act like I was brave, but I felt like I was just ripped from the inside out, and that I was literally stripped from my soul from being in there. And I called them and tried to make out that everything was okay, but deep down at the time I thought that was my last call to him. And yeah. I always call people pussies crying on YouTube, but yeah, it's really hard not to on this, sorry. But anyway, yeah, back to it. So I called them, and then they wanted a meeting back in the ward that I was in. I said, "Not a hope, you can come out to me, but I am not going back in there." So we had the meeting outside of the ward, and I said, or we talked, and they said that I'd hopefully get transferred to St. Patrick's Mental Hospital. And that seemed to be the place that I wanted to get the help in the first place, not this place. This place was literally a living horror movie. And then the doctor said, "If you ever get this bad again, we can take you in." And I said to him straight after, "You will never ever see me here again. I would literally rather die than come here again." So I left that place, and we got the call when we were in the car that I was able to be transferred up to St. Pat's. And the whole way up along the motorway, I remember it just being so grey and dark. I just wanted to open the door on the motorway and just end it there, because I was literally, as I said, I was literally just stripped. My whole soul was gone, and yeah, I don't know how I kept going. So I got to the hospital anyway, went through admissions and everything, got checked in, and it was the place. I was afraid it would be like Waterford, but it wasn't. The people I met there were literally life-changing people. They were the nicest people ever. Normal people who go through depression, not these crazy people who are in a ward that want to bite you. So talking to the patients up there really changed my perspective on life, and it really helped me, just sharing experiences and gaining knowledge from people who've been going through it a lot longer than me, and it really helped just knowing I was in an environment full of people who were going through the same thing, and that I didn't have to put on the constant mask that I have to put on down here. And I'm really grateful that I met all those people, like especially my three really good friends, Ben, Mark and James, who made it a lot easier to be up there with, and they're people that I'll never forget in my life and that I'll keep in contact with forever. But it was the toughest decision of my life to get help, but at least now I know that it's not what I thought it would be, that help actually isn't that bad, and it's just a change of mindset is really what it does. And I would recommend it to anyone that if you're as low as I would, just take the brave choice of getting help. Because getting help isn't an act of weakness, it's an act of courage, and you have to know that. And I know that now. So I'm sorry for this video being so kind of long and really touchy. Like, I know I never make videos like this. I know I just tend to make funny videos, but I felt I really need to make this to not only help myself leave it all out, but help someone that is going through this, because I just know there's people who are watching this now who go through this, who are young or who are old, who are watching this, and I just want to say you're not alone. And as I've learned over the years and over the last few weeks, you need to know that if you are feeling suicidal, that it's not the answer. And the quote that really helped me with that is, suicide doesn't end the chances of it getting worse, it ends the chances of it getting better. And while it did kill me on the inside, seeing my family, say my mother crying when I was saying goodbye to her at the hospital, or Hannah visiting and bawling her eyes out when I said goodbye to her and everything like that, it's nothing like the goodbye you would say if you ended your life, and the pain they would go through if you do end it. Because, you know, suicide might end it for you, it might end the depression for you, but it passes it on then to someone else next to you. And yeah, you just, as I said in all my attempts, you have to keep going. Just hold on in there and keep going. I just want to say thanks for everyone who listened through it all, and I really, really do hope it helps someone. And thanks for everyone who visited or texted or was there for me when I went through my moments of crisis. And I just want to tell the people who don't go through it to be there for the people who are going through it. If you think one of your close friends or someone you know is going through it, be there for them. Ask them, are they okay? And just be there for them. Try and help them feel better, because you never know what someone's going through or when the last time you'll see someone is. Because I know for a fact, when I see all my friends and family now, that I am so blessed to have the second chance to actually see them and be able to talk to them. So yeah, thanks for watching, and yeah, I'll see you in the next video.